Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the High Vibration Living podcast. Today, I'm chatting with Sara Banta, owner of Accelerated Health Products and host of the Accelerated Health Radio and TV. Her goal is to help clients and listeners reach their optimal state of health through proper detox supplements, cutting edge technologies, and modalities. She has degrees from Stanford University, Institute of Integrative Nutrition, and the Invincible Wellness System. Her journey was on a different path until she hit rock bottom. After Western medicine couldn't give her answers or solutions, she discovered natural solutions that actually worked. She was healing from Crohn's disease, hormonal issues, PCOS, IBS, and heavy metal toxicity when she was hit with her 9-year-old son's diagnosis of leukemia. She now serves clients and listeners with cutting-edge protocols that combine scalar frequency-based supplements, DNA-based dietary protocols, Chinese medicine, healing devices, and much more to detox, reset, and rebuild the body, mind, and spirit. Welcome to the show, Sara.
Thanks for having me, Whitney. I'm excited for today.
You have such an incredible background and are full of so much knowledge that choosing a topic to talk to you and connect on today was challenging because there's so much that I want to learn from you. I'm sure you hear this all the time from people that meet you.
I hear that, but what's so unfortunate is that the way Western medicine teaches us is that to look at the symptom and to treat the symptom. Where in actuality, all of the things that you want to talk to me about really come from the same source of the problem. So whether your issues are manifesting in hormonal challenges or weight gain, and your sister's issues are coming out with mood disorders and anxiety, and you would probably treat them almost with the same protocol.
Really? And today we're talking about hair loss and hair grain. From your experience, having tons of people ask you questions about that, and then you having your own experiences with it, what do you find the root cause is with men and women and hair loss and hair grain?
So what's crazy is I'll never forget. I was in high school. Now, mind you, I was a straight A student. I was an athlete. I kind of had it all together, eating totally the wrong foods. But back then, our food supply wasn't as horrible it is as it is today. And I'll never forget. I was sitting in psychology class, and the guy that I actually really liked, who's super cute, sitting behind me, going, "Oh my gosh, look, you have a bald spot." And I'm like, "Oh yeah," but I had really luscious, thick hair, but it was like thinning on top, and I didn't even think anything of it. And then fast forward to being super self-conscious about thinning hair. Now, fast forward to 2020, where even my family members with amazing thick hair are having hair loss. So selfishly, I felt like, okay, well, at least I'm not the only one anymore. But it is running rampant. And if you think about health in general and what the body cares about, hair, nails, skin, your body will sacrifice all of those things to protect the organs. So it's like if you have gorgeous, amazing hair, then your body is almost saying, okay, we're good everywhere else, right? So backtrack. The main causes of hair loss: toxicity and insulin resistance. And I would say the toxic overload that is happening in 2023 is beyond anything we've ever seen before. Our livers are being tapped and overloaded and burdened, and essentially they're saying, I give up. I can't do anymore. And then you've got insulin resistance, where 9 out of 10 people, yes, 9 out of 10 people now, adults, are insulin resistant, pre-diabetic, or diabetic, which is huge. And you look at that number and know that most people are not being diagnosed. They're not going to the doctor. They're eating the standard American diet. I saw some statistic over the weekend that 57% of the United States is not following any sort of dietary protocol, whether it's vegan, vegetarian, paleo, whatever your thing is. So they're just not even thinking about food. They're not thinking about anything. And that's almost 60%. So most people and people that are listening to this episode are at least aware of their health, and they're seeing some symptoms in their own bodies that are making them tune into this podcast. Because if you and I could eat pizza and Ben & Jerry's every day and feel amazing, why would we care? Why would we even look to what we're eating? So when you look at those two factors, the toxicity, whether it's coming from the heavy metals, the GMOs in our food, even our organic foods now, the wrong healthy vegetables that could be backing up the liver and causing issues to make it so that our livers can't process the real toxins, and then the radiation from 5G, from our smartphones, from the smart meters, from the Zooms, and all of that stuff, from the chemtrails. Our bodies are just completely overburdened. And then things like the hair follicles get sacrificed. The nutrients don't get there. The nutrients aren't broken down. Leaky gut is causing a malnutrition and malabsorption of the nutrients that we are getting in. And then also our food supply doesn't even provide the nutrients that it used to provide. So there's so many factors that are leading to these issues, and the hair is one of the first things to go.
So let's talk about some of the myths that we think cause hair loss. And I'd love to know from your experience, research, and opinion if these myths are true. Wearing a hat, does that affect hair loss?
It does not help with hair growth. I shall say that. And the problem is most people that have hair loss wear hats because they're hiding it, right? So you're not giving the hair follicle air to breathe, to move around. It does need stimulation. Think about when you have a sinus infection. My husband used to get them all the time before we knew anything about health. He would have to be put on the strongest antibiotic because there's very little blood flow that goes here, right? So you've got to be on a really strong antibiotic to get there. Well, same with the hair follicle. There's a lot less blood vessels and blood supply to your head. So the best way to get to it is to actually stimulate, massage the hair, and put some stuff on topically in addition to working with increasing blood flow to the hair follicle. So wearing a hat does not help. Yes, I wear a hat every day when I work out because of the years when I used to have I was self-conscious about my thinning hair. Well, when you wake up in the morning and you have bedhead, it really doesn't do you any favors when you have thin hair as well. So I just got in the habit of wearing a hat. Now, my hat has become my uniform and my trigger in my brain to say, okay, it's time to go work out. So it's kind of that thing that I don't feel like working out. I put my hat on and now I'm like a superhuman ready to go work out.
Does lack of sunlight on your head affect hair growth?
I don't know of any scientific studies about that or about wearing hats, but intuitively, we function much better with sunlight because of the vitamin D. Sorry, there's a little gnat in front of my face. And the vitamin D is triggering enzymes to feed every cell in your body, and including your hair.
What about stress? Can stress really make our hair fall out?
Absolutely. So stress is just one of the issues, but your body, most people will say, if they experience a traumatic event or a stressful period in their life, they will experience hair loss, and usually it's a couple months after because of the hair cycle. Well, stress comes down to the fact that cortisol, the hormone released at high levels during stress, breaks down the proteins and inhibits the absorption of the protein in the hair follicles. But also think about the fact that when you're stressed, your thyroid hormone, T4, converts into reverse T3 instead of free T3. Reverse T3 is a stress response. What is it saying? It's saying, oh my gosh, I'm getting chased by a tiger. I need to stop my digestion. I need to stop everything. I need to store all of that fat on my body to protect my organs. That's why you get the visceral fat. I need to stop the production of hair because I really don't care about my hair right now. I just need to survive, and I need to go run from that tiger. So it's going to provide the adrenaline and the energy to the muscles on the short term to get yourself out of danger's way. Now, when cortisol is released in a chronic way, then all of these things start breaking down in the body, including the lack of blood supply and the lack of proteins provided to the hair follicles.
What about just not getting enough vitamins?
Absolutely. So a lot of vegans see an improvement in their diet for the first 6 months of becoming a vegan, and it's more of what they're not eating versus what they are eating. But then what they'll find is their hair falls out, their thyroid slows down, they're becoming insulin resistant, all of those things. And the amino acids that we find in the wild animal proteins that I really push are the building blocks to the hair follicle. So many vegans and vegetarians, people on low protein diets, will suffer from hair loss due to the insufficient amino acids in their diets. And then as the body will use any ingested nutrients for those important internal organs, not the hair, right? So you have to have a plentiful amount of those amino acids. And unfortunately, even the vegetables that we used to get a lot of nutrients from, they don't have the nutrients that we used to get in the 1950s. So most of the nutrients that we're looking for are coming from the wild animal proteins, like the deer, elk, bison, lamb, wild fish, organic eggs, not the chicken, not the poultry, not the pork. Those are full of amyloid proteins that actually disrupt the gut pathogens, cause amyloid proteins to get deposited in the tissues, in the liver, in the brain, causing Alzheimer's and dementia, and then also are not able to get broken down into those amino acids that are needed for the hair follicles. So people will say, well, I eat a healthy diet. I order chicken salad every day for lunch. Well, the salad might be full of oxalates and sulfur vegetables and lectins that are plant poisons, disrupting the gut, causing leaky gut, causing malnutrition. And then on top of that, you have the amyloid proteins from the chicken, and the chicken is then just being deposited in those amyloid proteins are being deposited in the tissues in the brain, not getting broken down. So you're not getting the amino acids broken down in the liver to then get packaged back up to send to your hair to rebuild those hair follicles. And so there's this whole domino effect. And then that's not even to mention the fact that our livers are backed up anyways and need to be going through a liver flush 3 to 4 times a year, and now I almost say 4 to 5 because of all of the things that are causing estrogen dominance and dirty liver. We've got the fluoride in the water and the food supply. We've got bromide in our food. Bromide is something that is not even legal in Europe anymore, and it's in our sodas and our breads. Whitney, you and I live in Southern California. Whenever there's a fire and they're dumping that fire retardant, that is bromide. So you absolutely need to be supplementing with iodine to kick out these toxins out of all 100 trillion cells of our diet. People think of iodine just for the thyroid, but it's for the brain and the body, and cleansing the liver and detoxing from all of the dirty estrogens in the body that are causing this domino effect that happens in our body. So back to what we said in the very beginning, what is causing this issue or this issue or this issue? It all comes down to detoxing and lowering our insulin resistance. Those two things will really start healing the body, regardless of what your issues or symptoms are.
Well, then let's talk about some of the myths or stories we hear out there that stimulate hair growth. And I'd love to hear from you, see these usual ones that I always hear on the market, whether you think they're true, false, supportive, or not. Should we be massaging our scalp every day?
Yes. Just like I was saying, as far as you want to stimulate it, but then you can also use topical supplements to put in there. And I have a couple that work. And when you talk about hair growth, I mean, I don't have the most gorgeous hair in the world, but I can tell you my hair is a lot thicker than it was in my teens and my 20s, and I've had 3 babies. So any mom out there knows that pregnancy kills your hair, because your body is going to give that little baby every ounce of nutrient from your body. And so I can tell you that my hair protocol works.
We will get into your hair protocol. I really want to hear about it, especially the topical. What about, have you heard of the rosemary water rinse? That you simmer some rosemary in water, you put that on your scalp, you let it sit, and you do that regularly.
So I've heard of it. I can't attest to it one way or another. I do know that a lot of hair supplements have rosemary oil or water in them. I have tried them. I feel a stimulation to my scalp. Do I know that was a huge part in contributing to regrowth? I can't really say.
Fair enough. What about taking algae spirulina chlorella? I've been told for years by different people that this is the best way to get more thicker hair, because the spirulina or chlorella will act as an excess vitamin, and so it'll then go to your hair and help your hair grow.
I can't speak to that one either. There are some plant poisons in those things as well. And algae, unfortunately now, is sourced usually from somewhere where it's full of radiation. For the same reason that you have to be very careful where you get your iodine supplement. Kelp is also used as a really nutrient-dense food, but most kelp is radioactive, unfortunately. So here we are trying to feed one thing, but we've got it full of toxicity. I'm not saying chlorella and spirulina and algae are always that way. It's not something that I have in my personal protocol, but I don't think it's going to hurt you. And there's probably some other benefits to those things as well.
What about vitamin C supplementation? Does that help hair growth?
Vitamin C is a tricky one, because vitamin C also can cause or is oxalate. And oxalates can, be stored in your tissues, cause arthritic pain, cause hypothyroidism, cause urogenital issues like UTIs and bladder infections. So vitamin C is great to supplement with or to have in your diet. Should you be over supplementing with it? No. And there's something called My Vital C or carbon 60, which is 152 or 72 times more powerful than vitamin C, that does help with hair growth. but vitamin C in general, it's one small vitamin where there needs to be a lot more to it for the support of hair growth.
That's fair enough. It's like any partialed food. It's not going to be as supportive when you have it partialed, whether when you have it packaged in the container nature meant you to have it packaged in so you could absorb all the benefits. It's like when people try to eat egg whites instead of the whole egg.
Exactly.
Well, I love that we're on the same page about that. Okay, so let's talk about some of the products on the market right now. So you see topical products, you see supplement products. Do one of these things work better than the other, having a topical hair treatment versus taking the supplements, or do you really need to go after it both ways for extensive hair growth?
Yeah, you need to go after it both ways for the reasons I talked about. Your your body it's kind of like knocking on a door really loud, but it's wood and it's not going to open with, you can't just go at it from the top. You have to go from the inside as well. And if you were to choose one or the other, absolutely diet. There's absolutely. And I've seen over the last 2 years with COVID, people who have really thick hair have gone through periods of major hair loss because of COVID and the way the spike protein is affecting the organs and the gut and stress in general, and that effect on hair. So with that, then we're seeing what is working as far as bringing it back. And it really comes down to the inner supplements and strong diet.
All right, so let's start with diet and then we'll get into your protocol. I want to hear more about the proteins that you recommend people eat and the types of vegetables that you recommend that we eat.
So this is something that I'm new to in the last 3 years. I have tried the vegan diet. I've tried the vegetarian. I've been paleo. I went carnivore for a couple days and saw some interesting things. But if you go back 3 years, I was on a higher protein, all the right vegetables, right? But bloated, retaining water, couldn't figure it out. I eliminated sulfur vegetables after doing my DNA and oxalates, and within 3 days, all of the water just deflated. And I had gone from looking like I was 6 months pregnant to actually seeing my abs again. So it was amazing because I'm thinking all of this water weight was fat or the wrong kind of weight, and it was just my body saying, you're totally inflamed and your gut does not like this and your liver's backed up. So number one, let's look at the proteins. So as I mentioned, chicken, poultry, pork, turkey, even organic, unfortunately, have these amyloid proteins. The amyloid proteins go in your body. They do not get broken down in the liver like most proteins are supposed to, and the liver is supposed to break them down into amino acids. Then the liver says, oh, well, I need this package of 5 amino acids put back together and sent to your bicep muscle. Well, these amyloid proteins don't ever get broken down. They get deposited into your tissues. They cause arthritis. They cause a disruption in the gut where the gut pathogens like E. coli and Salmonella overtake the good bacteria. So before I knew any of this, I would always get E. coli or some sort of food poisoning after I ate chicken. Didn't matter where I got the chicken from. And I didn't understand it because not all chicken has E. coli. Well, what was happening is those amyloid proteins in my gut were allowing the E. coli to overtake the good bacteria in my gut. And then it was just this domino effect. Then also those amyloid proteins get deposited in the brain and cause Alzheimer's and dementia. What has happened even more so in the last couple of years is the spike protein actually creates more amyloids in the body, away from eating chicken and away from eating these proteins. So your body has to deal with a bigger burden of it. So it is more important than ever to eliminate these foods because the burden on the body is too much for it to handle. And it's that tipping point where autoimmune issues are going to increase. And whatever your symptoms are, they're just going to get worse. So you want to focus on the wild animal proteins. My favorite is bison because it cooks very similar to beef, and most people are very used to beef. It's not as acidic, and it's actually the most nutrient-dense wild animal protein out there. You're getting a lot of the vitamins that you think you're getting from your vegetables in these animal proteins. So deer, elk, bison, lamb, even moose. I had someone ask me about moose today. Obviously, they're a hunter or live in an area not like we do in Southern California. But those meats where they're on free range, they're getting the nutrients from the grasses that they're meant to, the way nature intended. That's what you want to be eating. Wild fish. You want to stay away from the farm-raised fish because of the heavy metals and the mercury. And you will, those wild animal proteins also, their fat in them are full of omega-3 fatty acids versus the omega-6s. I can't remember the statistic, but the amount of inflammatory omega-6s in chicken and conventional beef is horribly high. And you're getting these amazing omega-3s from the bison ribeyes that are grass-fed that you hear about that you only get from wild salmon. Well, they're actually in these wild meats, so you can feel good about eating these delicious organic grass-fed bison ribeyes or rack of lamb or whatever it is. But the healthier fats are feeding the gut and the brain. The other thing to remember is so many people have an addiction to food. You know, I talk a lot about mental health and addiction in general, and especially over the last couple of years, because all of these addictive behaviors are free, whether it's porn, social media, gambling. But then we're all stuck in our houses, and the kitchen is right there 10 feet away instead of being in an office where you bring your little pack of lunch or whatever it is. Well, food addictions become a big problem. The wild animal proteins are the only food that provide the omega-3 fatty acids and the specific amino acids that trigger this hormone called CCK in the gut. That hormone specifically goes to the brain and says, okay, I'm no longer hungry. We can stop eating because I've fed my body what I need. I've got the nutrients that I need. I'm good. Whereas you eat the Pringles or the Ben and Jerry's and the brain says, oh, that's an excitotoxin to the brain. I need more, I need more, I need more. And there's no nutrients coming into the body, so the CCK hormone never gets triggered. And not only that, it's causing leaky gut and actually killing off the sensors in the gut that sense for that CCK to be triggered, so that when you eat the Pringles with your wild animal protein, the wild animal protein's not going to trigger the CCK because the Pringles are killing off that signaling response. I hope that makes sense. But that is why I believe any Western medicine doctor, any Chinese medicine guru, anyone on the planet would agree that we need to get rid of the processed foods and the refined sugars. So easier said than done. But once you eliminate them and focus on the wild animal proteins, on what you're supposed to eat, then the signaling response will work. Now add in the right vegetables. We need to get rid of the oxalates. Oxalates are, they're oxalic acids. these plants can't move. They can't run away from the tiger. They can't run away from the animals. So what do? They have these poisons to keep the animals away from eating them. And those poisons are also poisons to our body, and we have a tipping point. So if we already have a compromised system and we have leaky gut, those oxalates are going to get deposited in our tissues and our joints, cause rheumatoid arthritis, cause hypothyroidism, cause unintentional weight gain, UTIs, bladder infections, brain fog, anxiety, depression, all of these symptoms, hair loss. And everyone's thinking, well, what do I need to do? I'll just take a hair supplement. That might help, but you got to get rid of the things that are causing the damage as well. So those oxalates are in kale, spinach, almonds, Swiss chard, and berries even. Now, some of the foods are worse than others. Spinach, almonds are the worst of the worst. And, celery, eating a couple sticks with your dip, totally fine. I love celery. But celery juice, our ancestors didn't have juicers. That's not the way we are meant to eat. And what's so crazy is juicing is something that someone is doing intentional for their health, and they actually are probably causing a detriment to their health. So I'm not a fan of juicing. Celery juicing has a lot of those oxalates, whereas eating a couple sticks of it is totally fine. Same with juicing spinach. You juice spinach and that overload of oxalates is horrendously high. And a lot of people suffering from knee pain. I have so many people that are athletes that say, I just can't get over my knee pain, and they're vegans and they don't know why all of this pain is causing, hindering their workouts. Then you've got the sulfur vegetables, the cabbage, the broccoli, cauliflower, really highly popular ketogenic low carb vegetables, but they're causing bloat, brain fog, backed up liver, sulfur supplements, even DIM. A lot of, and I actually had someone in my coaching today say, my doctor put me on DIM and I just listened to you talk about it. And oh my gosh, I had been getting headaches when I started that supplement. Well, DIM is concentrated broccoli and sulfur vegetables. So, and I even had my husband, a practitioner, a health practitioner, natural health practitioner, put him on a DIM supplement to bind up his excess estrogen. And I said, I wouldn't take it. You're going to get a headache in 2 days. And he goes, well, I'm going to try this protocol. I said, okay, that's fine. Within 2 days, massive migraine headaches. And I said, thank God you're married to me, because I knew it and I called it out before it even happened. And there's other ways to bind up your estrogens with calcium D-glucarate or some other ways, but even glutathione, that's a supplement people take for so many health benefits, and we need glutathione. But when you take it as a supplement, it is a sulfur-based supplement. So if your body can't break down sulfur, it's only going to back up the liver even more and cause estrogen dominance, cause a dirty liver, and all of these things are going to, get worse and worse and worse. So most people today, because of the spike protein, do you need to go get your DNA checked? I would love you to. But I would eliminate sulfur and oxalate vegetables for a couple weeks, get on this protocol, and then if you want to introduce, gosh, I love broccoli, I just want to see if I can eat it again, then introduce one thing at a time over a period of 3 days and see how your body reacts. A lot of times you're going to get your answer within 24 hours or in the toilet, either being constipated or gassy or bloated or have diarrhea, because your body's going to react. It's almost like when you abstain from alcohol for a month and then you have your first drink and you're like, oh God, that hangover was not worth it. Well, when you're drinking every single night, you're so numbed out that you don't even know the damage it's doing to your body until you eliminate it and then you reintroduce it.
What are your 5 favorite vegetables that you eat?
I love cucumbers, romaine lettuce. I do love salads, and most people are totally fine with the lettuces, romaine, bib, lamb lettuce, iceberg. I love seaweed. I do love seaweed, and I love asparagus, artichokes. All of those are really good. Most people can handle them. But honestly, when I sit down for my meal, I'm looking at like 20 ounces of bison ribeye, and I have my vegetables off to the side. Half the time I don't even get to my vegetables because I'm totally full and satisfied with my meat. But I would say those would be my top vegetables.
So let's get to your protocol. So the supplements and the on-hair treatments that you have found works once you get your diet right.
So one of my favorite supplements that I found out was one that I mentioned, Carbon 60. It's My Vital C. This has been shown to encourage faster and thicker hair growth. So it also extends life by 90%. I've noticed it helps with my sleep. So anything that's going to help with your sleep is going to help with your body, your brain, your hair, everything. If we're not sleeping, throw all of this out the window. Sleep, sleep, sleep. The liquid biocell collagen. This is the only collagen that I have found that actually works because it provides a natural occurring matrix of hydrolyzed collagen, hyaluronic acid, and chondroitin sulfate. Most collagens are the wrong type of collagen. There's over 16 different types of collagen. This one is type 2 that converts into type 1, type 2, and type 3. So it helps with our skin, our bones, our hair, our eye tissue, accelerated thyroid. So I would say 90% of people today complaining about their hair loss, they're suffering from hypothyroidism. And this formula is the only thyroid supplement, the accelerated thyroid, available that combines 2 different thyroid supplements in one, and then enhances it with scalar frequencies for that extra boost. So what we've done is it's glandular, and it's these Ayurvedic this herb called Kanchanara, that helps detox the thyroid, helps drain the excess water retention that a lot of us are experience, but it's also detoxing the thyroid from the heavy metals, the radiation and even the oxalates that are clogging the thyroid, causing the fact that iodine can't get to the thyroid. And then that brings up the iodine, the accelerated iodine. So the accelerated iodine is needed for estrogen dominance, hormonal balance, hypothyroidism, hair growth. It increases ATP production, which is your cell's energy, not the energy from caffeine or your coffee or Monster drink, but that true cellular energy. And when mitochondria have a healthier ATP, then everything in your body works better, and more cells and vessels are getting to your hair. You're detoxing from the toxins in your thyroid. But when we think about thyroid hormones, T4 and T3, T stands for tyrosine, 4 and 3 stand for molecules of iodine. Tyrosine comes from animal protein. It's an amino acid, but the iodine has to be coming from a radiation-free iodine source, and accelerating iodine is the only iodine that I know is radiation-free, 100% bioavailable. Most are actually just 10 to 20% bioavailable, and then also full of the scalar frequencies to detox the cells and the hair of the toxins that are clogging the follicles. So we talk also about topical. What you can do is you can actually combine accelerating iodine with the accelerated scalar castor oil For your skin, I do a face mask every night and it looks orange at night, but what the castor oil does helps the iodine soak into the skin, helps with brown spots, wrinkles, and skin and acne issues. But you can also put it in your scalp. You put a gua sha tool and you put it like in a Ziploc baggie so it doesn't rip your hair out, just to stimulate your scalp. And what it's easiest to do if your hair is wet, that's one way to think about it. But getting the Acceleradine into your scalp topically and internally is definitely helpful. But the iodine, when people ask for protocols for A through Z symptoms and problems, Acceleradine, because it's antiviral, antifungal, antiparasitic. It's helping heal the thyroid, Hashimoto's, hypothyroidism, which your thyroid is your master endocrine gland. So if your thyroid's off, it's affecting your gonads and your hormones and libido and estrogen dominance, menopause issues, PCOS. It even helps stabilize blood sugar when we were talking about insulin resistance, so it helps with that. It is a go-to for almost everything. And then accelerated scalar copper. So copper is one of the vital components for natural dark pigment, melanin, which gives the coloration to skin, hair, and eyes. So it is known to actually turn back the gray hairs in front to your old color, and same with your eyes. It is also known to prevent the graying of hair. So copper is that like missing key that opens the door to all of these other things happening. It's the unsung hero. People that are anemic usually lose their hair, right? You hear of people needing iron supplements. Well, most of us have actually iron overload, but the iron can't get to where it needs to go. And the copper is the key to getting that iron to go to where it needs to go. My 18-year-old daughter has been anemic all of her life, and this is something that we have just discovered within the last 2 years, and that is why I came out with the accelerated scalar copper, is to get her iron to where it needs to go. She has been on every single iron supplement since she was 2 years old, and nothing has worked. And her energy's better. She's always had great hair, so that's never been an issue. But the copper has really been that key. But it is a key to hair growth and doing what is needed in all elements of the body. Now, you can also talk about accelerated keto, because what happens with the keto is it's going to reduce inflammation in the body, reduces blood sugar and insulin, helps flip your body into fat burning mode. You are able to intermittent fast. You're reducing the inflammation throughout your body and the brain and the hair. It's going to kill the food cravings, focus on the wild animal protein diet, reduce PCOS, which a lot of women have and is causing fertility issues and is caused by insulin resistance. And then it helps feed the hair follicles the proper nutrients and encourage the hair growth. Then with that, some of the things topically, the My Vital C hair growth kit is something you can put in your scalp when you are coming out of the shower. I use it on a daily basis. It has been shown to help with thicker and fuller hair growth. And then there are some stem cell patches. So these are really interesting. I'm wearing them. I wear them every day.
I wear them too.
Awesome. Well, the X49 patch triggers the AHK copper peptide. Now, copper peptide. So another reason why copper is so important. The stem cell activation patches don't work unless you have copper in your body. And that's why David Schmidt, the owner of the LifeWave company, is actually a proponent of my accelerated scalar copper. But what happens is the HK copper peptide improves hair density by preventing hair loss and then by also stimulating the hair growth. And the copper peptide promotes new blood vessels by triggering the release of the VEGF, and it improves the blood flow to the existing hair follicles, but also stimulates the growth of new hair follicles. And then the X39 patch, of course, helps as well because it's essentially turning back the clock on your body in general, and that helps with detoxification, repair, regeneration, everything, including hair growth. I wanted to also touch on the importance of the Nuke No More. So Nuke No More, we talked about toxicity. Nuke No More is the only supplement on earth that can help eliminate all non-ionizing radiation and ionizing radiation. Radiation not only causes cancer, thyroid disease, and other chronic disease, but also degrades the health of the cells, which leads to hair loss. And it is the only supplement that I know that actually zeroes you out of all radiation. So there are a few other things, but I wanted to give you a minute to ask.
No, that's fantastic. I'd love to know which LifeWave patches you wear every day.
The better question is, which LifeWave patches do I not wear?
Yeah.
I wear the Energy Enhancer here every single day. I wear the X49 below my belly button, Eon, Silent Nights, Alavita, and I'm missing one, Carnosine. I wear at night. And my sleep score is above a 95 every single night. I've even hit a 99, which the ring company, the Aura Ring company, was shocked to see. I wear glutathione day or night, depending. I go back and forth, trying to think of any that I'm missing, but I think those would be the ones.
And how long did it take for you to start to see significant changes, results, up spiral energy? So whatever you consider results with the patches, depending on which ones you were taking, how long did it take for you to see changes?
So I did not want to like the patches. When my friend told me about them, I said, I don't have the bandwidth to do these. She goes, just try them. And
Yeah.
within 3 days of X39, because that's what I started out with, I was sleeping better. The X49, within a week, my strength was up and my body composition factually changed, where body fat went down, muscle went up. I do an in-body scan on a weekly or bi-weekly basis, and there was a factual change with that. The Alavita, I noticed in my skin right away. Between that and the Eon patch, I felt a calmness. My sleep significantly got better when I do my protocol of Silent Nights, Alavita, and Eon. Carnosine, I do notice a difference during my workouts. And my goodness, the one downside to the Carnosine when you sleep with it is the dreams are very vivid. And I had one last night where I thought, oh God, I can't, it's one of those dreams you can't shake.
Yes. Yes.
But it absolutely was because of the Carnosine patch. So it is, it's obviously doing something there. So I would say in the Energy Enhancer, I noticed right away within 20 minutes.
Would you walk me through a typical day of what you have for breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, beverages? I would love to know, and I think the audience would love to know as well.
So I love to intermittent fast. With my supplements in the morning, I wake up, I have my acceleridine, I make my tea, I put my patches on, I go take my accelerated thyroid, accelerated keto, my accelerated ancient salt, which helps plump up your cells and rehydrate the cells and gives you energy. I then will do a morning session on my biocharger, which is a frequency-based machine. You can find it out on my website. And I do some work. So check some emails, get focused on my day. And then I go do my workout. My workout consists of 20 minutes of warming up on our rowing machine or taking my dogs for a run. I like to do the run because it gets me outside. It sets my circadian rhythm with the sunlight. And that's when I feel the best. My dogs, of course, love me a lot more. And then I'll focus on strength training. After the age of 40, women have to strength train and lift heavy weights. That is a must. And I've always done that anyways, but that's something I do. I also use a vibration machine that helps with lymphatics, strength training, and takes my workouts up a notch. Then I'll do a sauna, and I supplement with my quintessential 0.9 and my wild lights for electrolytes and my accelerated ancient salt, because when you're sweating a lot, you need to make sure you're taking your electrolytes. I will then do work, and those are my power hours. My power hour is between 11:30 and 1:32, where I'm writing my blogs, I'm doing my podcasts, I've taken my Cogniblast, which is my new brain enhancement supplement, and when I'm on that, I can type faster, I focus better, I learn faster, and I also know that I'm preventing Alzheimer's and dementia, which I have both genes for that. So those are my power hours. Then in the afternoon, it's about self-care. And typically, as far as lunch or my first meal, I will break my fast with wild animal protein, whether it's a quick meal of leftovers from the night before, of lamb, bison, usually it's bison, or I'll cook a bison burger, or I will have bison jerky sticks. That's usually something that I will eat, because when you focus on wild animal protein with nothing else, you're actually improving the glucagon to insulin ratio, and you bump up your fat burning and you stabilize your blood sugar even more. And you feel great energy, great nutrients to the brain. And then I will do self-care, and that might be a walk with my dogs, a time with my husband on a walk, going to do some sort of treatment like a lymphatic treatment or something like that. And whatever it is, that's my time. Then I will typically take a bath to kind of shut down the Sarah work mode into the mom wife mode, and I get into cooking, and usually my cooking is really easy. I will take something out of the freezer. I usually get my wild meat from a website or Personal Gourmet Foods, where it's all in the freezer, single packed, which makes it really easy as a mom, because if my girls want something different than me and my husband, it's easy to take out and cook. And I don't make it difficult. My cooking has to be within 30 minutes. And we usually barbecue or use the broiler. And you're the expert on cooking, Whitney. So the meals typically are wild animal protein, some sort of salad or vegetable. And then afterwards, I typically like to eat some fruit as a dessert, like papaya or maybe an apple or something like that to hit my sweet tooth, or maybe a little bit of no sugar chocolate of some sort. And I'm in bed by 8:30. I put my eye mask on, my patches. I've done my detox drink with the sleep breakthrough powder in it. And literally within 3 to 5 minutes, I'm knocked out and I start again the next day. I love my life. I feel great. I feel better than I've ever felt at the age of 47. And I know God put me through all of my health issues, all of my family's health issues, so that I could tweak things and find these biohacks that actually work.
I love that you have found exactly what works for your body. And that's why I like asking these types of questions. And of course, doing this podcast, because I love hearing from people who have found the formula, found the recipe that works perfectly for them, and they're able to do it consistently. And we can learn how other people are doing it, find what resonates for us, and build our own system so we can feel great in our body and have a life that brings us so much joy every day. You nailed it.
Absolutely. I agree 100%.
Well, where can people find the products that you shared with us today so we all can start to create our own hair formula that works, and then find and learn more about you?
Everything's at my website, sarabantahealth.com. I have free group coaching on Telegram. There's no reason not to join because it's all free and you just sit there and learn, and people ask questions, troubleshoot, you learn from each other. You've got this awesome group to support you. And I've created this amazing following that they all are so supportive of each other, which is very hard to find nowadays. My podcast is live Mondays and Tuesdays, but you can watch all of the episodes at any time on Accelerated Health TV and radio show. It's on over 100 channels, so everywhere you look for podcast, it's there, including YouTube. And all of my protocols are on my website as well. And if you have a question where you don't know where to start, too many supplements, I can't figure out where to start, just email me. Tell me your symptoms, and I'm happy to put together a protocol for you.
Fantastic. I am so grateful for you. There's so much more I want to learn from you. So I know everyone listening, just want to give you a heads up. Hopefully we'll be bringing Sara back on because there's just so many directions that she can guide us so you can better figure out what will work for your body. Can you leave our listeners with maybe one healthy tip they can consider adding to their lives, or maybe even something that they should consider removing from their lives?
Oh gosh, where do I start? No, if it's one thing, I would say when you wake up in the morning, go look at the sun for 10 minutes. And that's going to set your circadian rhythm for the rest of the day and the next night's sleep. You gotta sleep. And no one is exempt from that.
What time do you like waking up in the morning, and what time do you usually make sure that you open a window or step out and look at the sun?
I'm up between 5 and 6. So as soon as the sun's out, I make a point of going outside.
Yeah, I'm on the same wavelength as you. I get up in between the same hour, usually a little different, every few days or so, but that seems to work best in helping me accomplish everything I want to in my day.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Sara, thank you so much for your time today. I'm so grateful, and I'll be putting together my protocol with your recommendations, and I look forward to chatting with you again soon.
I love being here, Whitney. Thank you.
Thank you.